Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning into the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the first Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. So welcome back. We are a day early for the...
$1 short.
Probably. For the Pitt preview. And we're going to get into all of that fun stuff here in a second. But first, of course, as always, we got to talk about the folks over at MyBookie. Now, listen, regardless of whether you're new to online betting or you've done it plenty like Joe, you want to check it out, see if it's right for you. If you're new, if you know what you're getting into, I recommend you go over to MyBookie. It is your best bet this season. If you're the kind of guy or gal who likes to bet a little and win a lot, try the parlay. For instance, if you like a couple of the big favorites of the week, parlays are perfect because they let you bet on multiple games together for a much bigger payout. So if you're going to bet this season, do the smart thing and go to mybookie.ag because no one gives you more ways to win than MyBookie. Pro football, full swing. College football, obviously full swing. Playoffs, MLB playoffs, that is. They're rolling right now. And hockey, basketball's right around the corner. So now is the time to get off the sidelines and get in on the action. If you really want to support your team this season, don't just sit on the sidelines. Get in the game with mybookie.ag. And if you join right now, MyBookie will double your first deposit. Just use the promo code CHAIR, that's CHAIR, to activate that offer. That's promo code CHAIR. Double your cash on your first deposit. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. MyBookie, thank you. MyBookie. All right, so Joe.
Yes, sir.
It seems that Coach implied that none of the injured players were expected to come back against Pitt. So, and of course, this includes Melifonwu, Heckel, Williams, and Cisco. But Cisco did suit up against NC State, traveled with the team.
Yes.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts kind of on that? Of course, he's going to hold his cards close to his chest. We know that. But as far as Cisco goes, I think it's the best possibility. I know that Pitt's preparing for him to play, so they believe there's a chance as well.
Yeah, again, I'm just more and more Heckel and Williams. I don't know really what's going on with.
I know.
With all
what's
of that.
up?
I don't know, man. Don't know. But as far as the other guys go, they should be back, I feel like, sooner rather than later. Again, with Cisco traveling, you don't know if that was a situation where maybe he wanted him just to go on the trip for leadership and being on sideline to help type purposes, or if he was really that close to playing. But yeah, I know that, like I said, I know that Melifonwu, he had a hamstring. I know they're not going to say it, but I saw the injury when it happened, and it was his hamstring. So, again, that can be a random time. So, again, it'd be nice to get at least one of them back, but I really wouldn't count on it. And again, Babers isn't going to say, so.
Right. And, well, we speculated last week that maybe there was a chance. Maybe there was a chance someone comes back, and... well, nobody did, so there's that. So it's the
so again this
game.
week maybe.
Exactly, which was the same thing last week. But like you said though, probably Cisco is the only one with a legit shot at coming back. So don't get your hopes up. But anyway, so the Orange are hosting rival Pitt in the Dome Friday, October 18th. Another primetime game. Kickoff is set for 7 o'clock. Syracuse has only beaten Pitt Panthers once. That was in 2017 in 6 ACC games, and we all remember the overtime loss last year at Pitt in Heinz Field. So Syracuse currently sits 3-3, 0-2 in the ACC, and Pitt actually sits at a respectable 4-2, 1-1 in the ACC. They are coming off a bye. They beat Duke on the 5th, and they're coming off a bye. So, again, the challenge will be to protect Tommy DeVito. And because the Orange Line is going to have to face another decent defensive front, lineman Jalen Twyman, he leads Pitt with 6 sacks and 7 tackles for a loss. Pitt's defense actually ranked, I was a little shocked by this. They're ranked 16th nationally. They give up 97 yards on the ground per game on average. And they're also tied for second nationally with 27 sacks. Coach Baber said in his press conference, quote, "They blitz, and blitz, and they're crazy about it," end quote. So,
yeah, he went on to talk about saying that they're a little reckless, but it's like controlled. So I guess, I don't know. We'll see. I guess I should have looked ahead to the next game before I said, that maybe we weren't going to play a defense as good as.
Yeah, they're pretty decent.
Yeah, I did say front seven, and I know that Pittsburgh, they have a really good secondary as well, and
yes,
that's a little bit of a difference. So I think where they struggle a little bit is maybe internally, maybe linebacker type stuff. That's I think why they maybe blitz that much. But overall, again, it's another good defense.
It seems like very comparable to NC State as far as the defense goes, but a better offense, Joe. Because
that's what it looks like. I mean, I would just say that basically because of the quarterback. Kenny Pickett, he was in Tommy DeVito's situation last year, taking his licks and figuring stuff out, and now he's back. But on the flip side, they also graduated 4 out of 5 linemen, and just like we did last year. 2
of their Quadre Olson and Darren Hall, they ran all over us last year, and they had a great time doing it. So they've graduated. Like you mentioned, Pickett's back, second in the ACC in passing, averaging 274 yards a game. And
what? Really?
Yeah. Yep.
He's got less yards than Tommy.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Averaging a game though, is that less than Tommy?
I mean, they played the same amount of games, right? Tommy's got.
Yeah, 6.
Tommy's thrown for 1570, and this guy's thrown, unless he hasn't played all the games. He may have gotten injured, and another quarterback came in for some of those games. So
it could be. His 2 receivers, Maurice French and Cesar Mack, they are as a tandem. They've hauled in 91 catches between the 2 of them, and they actually lead the nation as a duo.
Yeah.
So.
And that's really where their offense has been making that bread and butter is the passing game. Now they have had some issues with. Pickett has gotten sacked a little bit, and I know they've had issues with running the ball, but
their run game is not as stout as it.
But they do have those playmaking receivers that we're definitely going to have to, keep an eye on.
Yeah, well, how does that make you feel if we don't get Cisco back? I mean, it doesn't all ride on Cisco. It's not what I'm trying to say either.
No, but those guys have missed like the last 2 games, and I know it's only been Holy Cross and NC State. So yeah, it makes me a little nervous because it's a little bit of a better quarterback. So yeah, we might see some big plays given up a little bit. And again, I think like you said, I think it's going to be a little bit comparable of like what you said, NC State. I don't think with the state of our offense and what their defense is doing right now, I just don't see us.
Holy smokes, my mic just fell apart. Go on, I'm sorry.
Being able to put up crazy points. Now, the good thing is you say that their offense is better, which it is, but when you look at their schedule,
well, they're one-dimensional though. For the most part, and I think we can make them one-dimensional very easily. So it's going to be.
Well, yeah, but if you look at their schedule, they haven't really blown anybody. They lost to home against Virginia and at Penn State, which are 2 formidable opponents, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
Virginia. That was a first game of the season though too.
Right, their win against Ohio, they won 20-10. Another win versus UCF, which UCF is ranked and they're a formidable team, but it's 35-34.
I remember that game.
And then
Syracuse fans, by the way, remember you were rooting for Pitt in that game. Go on.
Yeah,
a lot of them were. I know you were.
Then they beat Delaware at home the next week, 17-14. Mm-hmm. And then they just won at Duke, 33-30.
Yep.
Right.
Does it?
So their wins, I mean, yeah, they're 4-0, but they're 4-0 in the last, like they're 3-0 the last 3 games by a total of 7 points.
1, 3, 3. Yeah.
So, and there's that, but there's also the bad part of it that they had a bye week last week.
That's another thing that bothers me a tiny bit. Is coming off of the bye week, they're already healthy and kind of
Yeah.
I mean, I had high expectations for us coming off of a bye week, so maybe maybe
well, I'm hoping, like I said, I mean they have I don't know, it's tough because they've definitely stopped the run well, and it just seems like for some reason that like our offense can't really do anything unless our quarterback can just run a little.
It seems like it helps open things up, obviously. I mean, it's basic stuff, right? So
it's basic stuff, but when we don't do that, it's hard.
You think
our offense struggles.
I mean, right, it struggles, but all the difference in the world, or maybe not in the world, but some of the difference could be if Tommy comes out and he's had a couple extra days. So it'll be what? It'll be one extra day, I guess, really, if you look at it. One extra day than he normally would to heal whatever injury he was kind of still nursing against NC State.
Right.
And maybe he won't be running around as petrified, I think. I'm sorry, guys. I felt like he was. I'm sorry. Right. I know that's not a popular opinion, but it didn't look comfortable against NC State.
Like I said, what I compared him to. So, and that was an NFL quarterback that I compared him to. So at the end of the day, no offense wants to be in a situation, or no quarterback wants to be in a situation where, I don't want to say he doesn't trust his offensive line, but he's probably pretty skeptical at this point.
Probably knows what to expect at this point, right?
Right, but that's just, you have to figure stuff out, And again, too, part of this is learning how to play injured. That's just something you have to figure. That's something you have to figure out, And I think this is his first injury, and he got injured at Holy Cross or during the Holy Cross game, and this is the first game that he actually came back and he tried to play through the injury. So you saw it was like he
was tender.
But a lot of it could have been just that he was trying to play too smart. He was trying to play too overprotective in the beginning of the game because he knew it a whole game and he didn't want to get re-injured. But I do think that he did take a bunch of hits that probably, tweaked it up a little bit. And, you saw it a little bit, but even in the fourth quarter when it was down to now it's game time, nitty gritty.
Yeah.
And then you saw him start running and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that it was one of those things where, he learned in that game that, you got a little boo-boo or how Dino Babers is saying, owie. And, you're going to have to figure out how to play through it because that's what NFL players do. And that's what, college players learn to do. So hopefully that fourth quarter, he learned how to play through that. And it showed him that, it was going to be all right. And that he can go ahead and maybe take off from that, maybe from the beginning of the game this week. So again, I don't fully expect the offense to look as bad, as it did for that long of a time.
For 3
You know what
quarters.
I mean? I think I think that's a lot of what the widespread was. If we sprinkled in little long drives here and there, a field goal here, then it doesn't look as bad. But to go a whole half with all those three and outs with no points, it's just like that right there overall, it kind of amplifies it. So I just don't see it being like that. I see Tommy just learning every game and he's still put up decent numbers. And I think that he learned how to play through his injury, and like you said, hopefully the extra day, getting in there, getting in the trainers, and hopefully getting himself right in the best shape that he can possibly be in before this game.
Because he's going to be at home. He's got the crowd behind him. That NC State crowd was definitely hats off to them. They were great for their team. So, hope that we can show up and do the same. It's a day early. I didn't get any fan stuff, Joe. So I guess we'll just jump right into your my bookie pick, buddy. So let me get my trusty pen out here.
Oh, here we go. My bookie. This is not.
Hold on. I can't find it. What the hell happened to it?
Yeah, and you know what? The whole thing is
no, this can't be real.
If Andre Schmidt hits that field goal last week, then I would have won that.
That's true.
They definitely should have covered.
Ifs and buts are candy and nuts. We all have a Merry Christmas.
Well, at least I didn't put any money on it. So,
damn! I lost all my records.
Good.
I lost all my records for the year. Well, damn. Well, that sucks. Okay.
It's probably just the Syracuse record at this point. No, because I don't think they covered one time either. You know.
It was one time. But
it is what it is.
It was the Holy Cross game, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, so you're 2-3. Ooh, or 2-4, excuse me. So Joe's 2-4. Syracuse. Well, Pitt opens up as a 3.5-point favorite, according to my bookie, Joe.
Yeah.
So,
who's your bookie?
My.
Okay. Who is it?
So anyway, how do you see it, man? How do you see it? You know what? All right, no, go ahead.
It's tough.
I know it's tough. It's tough. You know why?
I just bleed way too much orange.
I know you do, but sometimes you gotta sprinkle in some reality, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
3.5 points. I don't know what it opened up. I say it opened up at that, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's just what it is right now.
Yeah, it could obviously change by Friday, so
lock it in.
Lock her in. I mean, again, I'm just staying with Syracuse. I don't care.
Okay.
They're 3-0 the last 3 games, Pittsburgh, but they haven't won by more than 3 points.
So Syracuse loses by 3 or less. That's what you're saying? Do you want to be more specific than that? I'm just saying.
I don't need to be specific. I'm just saying.
I know, but we delve into it here.
No, it's a rivalry. Like I said, as much as
yes, exactly.
As much, yeah. I mean, they always say there's all crazy games. It's either that or it's just a grind out, just mistakes and just a very physical game. Penalties, undisciplined, ugly turnovers. Just it's one or the other. And I think with the way these teams are looking, I think that it's going to be kind of like this NC State Syracuse game was, with probably more points.
1-5 against Pitt since playing in the ACC together.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's tough, dude.
It's really tough. But we got the home field advantage this time, man. I think that's going to be – I hope that's going to be –
I think it's the home field advantage, but also the fact of that you got to kind of look at this as a revenge game, too.
Yeah.
A little bit with these players and stuff like that. And so, I mean, we're still 3-3. There's still room to turn the season around. And like I said,
absolutely.
And this happens a lot, all the time. Like teams, they'll get some bad losses maybe early in the season, and then something clicks, and their young guys figure it out, and the next thing you know, they rattle a couple off. So,
and by the way, I don't know visually the season has not been great, but it's 3-3. It could be worse, actually.
Yeah. And I'm sticking into the fact of like that our defense is going to keep us in every game.
And that's the other thing, sure. And I'm
sticking into that because, and we're back to the dome. So again, if our defensive line can wreak havoc, then defense is just waiting for the offense to catch up. That's it. And at some point,
needs some rest.
No, at some point
they need to sustain drives early.
At some point, the offense has got to feel bad and start stepping up. Honestly, I think that hopefully the play calling gets a little bit more. I don't want to say better. I just want to say
opened up a little bit more.
Well, open it up
a little bit less, like with blinders on, looking straight forward kind of deal. Needs to be
you just got to be careful with this team because the team blitzes a lot as well.
They blitz a lot. They have great safety. They got great cornerbacks. They got a blue chip recruit, quote unquote, Paris Ford. He's a redshirt sophomore safety.
Yeah.
But he's actually going to miss the first half of this game because he's serving out the rest of a penalty against Duke from the 5th. So, but I mean, he's going to come in the second half, and they're going to be loaded back there. They got three really good guys. Well, either way, two of them are seniors.
Well, yeah, and the thing is when you have a player like that's out for that first half, you got to take advantage of some of your deep plays early and try to open that up. If you don't show it early, I mean, I don't know. Either way, you got to try to take a shot on that guy, because once halftime comes, that other guy's going to be in. They'll have a whole half of tape, and they'll be making their adjustments. So
he's going to be sitting on the sideline learning. So.
Oh yeah, and So it'll take a little while for him to, you got to go through the repetition too.
Sure.
But either way, again, I see just sloppiness. It's just sloppy plays. Again, like last week, sometimes the offense are just going to look bad. Just because I think that our defensive line is going to be able to get to them on certain pass plays and stuff like that. I think if we can hold them from big plays and being really good at running the ball, then, like I said, we're going to be right there. I don't think it's going to be a 16-10 type scenario, but I could see it being in the 20s without a doubt. Because from what I see from Pittsburgh, I mean, they can definitely sometimes give up big plays, but it doesn't look like they kind of go crazy on the scoreboard.
They don't go crazy on the scoreboard. They also don't really they don't get stomped either. Their worst loss was to Virginia, 30-14, first game of the season.
Right.
So
they
hold it tight, man.
It's all about making it ugly.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's always been.
It's always been ugly. Remember what was that one game? It was like there was no defense. Was it 56-61 or something?
No, it was like 76-61.
Oh, was it? Was that it? Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. It was in the 70s. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So, all right. Well, fun.
It'll be interesting to see.
It's a Friday night.
The last couple of years, they've tried to beat teams just ground and pounded. Last year, that's what they did to us: ground and pound, try to make it ugly, and they did, and they won it.
They just don't have it this year, though. As far as
they don't have that type of So the offense is a little bit different this year. So and they've even spoken about it. And again, that's just kind of an example of a coach kind of changing his play calling to the players that he has, and it's worked for them obviously thus far, 4-2, and they do have decent wins on their schedule. They don't have a bad loss, so on paper they don't look that bad, but again, you don't know how good those teams are that they beat. So again, this is just one of those teams where you kind of just got to look at their stats, but I think it's just another team that's right there in the middle, mediocre ACC, just like everybody else.
Yeah, well, like you said, the offense seems to be lacking in ACC, just in general, as a general.
Yeah, so because they have us as the underdog, but when you look at the ESPN, they do a little predictor thing as far as percentage of win-loss or whatever, and
oh yeah, I've seen that. I know what you're talking about.
The matchup predictor, and they have Syracuse winning 51.1% of the time, Pittsburgh 58.9.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Dogfight. Hey, here's yeah. I mean, we could hope for a dogfight. That's what I mean. Here's the thing. It's Friday night. What are y'all in Syracuse doing? You going to the game? Because you should be. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
It sounds like a freaking,
dress up.
It's a good.
Deck out in some Halloween orange garb.
Old Big East rivalry, So should be fun. I hope to see the crowd lit. The young kids say.
Be.
Yeah, definitely.
Should be lit AF.
Yeah, lit AF. That's right. I remember what that is now too, Joe. So, that's it. That's all we got. I think we dragged it out the best we could. So, anyway, thank you to my bookie. Thank you to all of you for listening. Yes. Obviously, thank you to James on guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.